starts now.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Guessford. Is airport security technology inherently gender biased? The Transportation Security Administration tells us the answer is yes. That means the screening process is more challenging for transgender and non-binary folks than cisgender travelers. Channel 3's Rachel Mann has been digging into this issue and joins us live from the Burlington Airport with what she's learned. Rachel.
Christina, the technology currently used by TSA takes a very binary approach to screenings. This means that non-cisgender individuals are much more likely to be pulled aside for often embarrassing physical pat-downs. One lawmaker with firsthand experience is calling for change.
As I went through the scanner, the alert went off that the TSA agents needed to check my groin area.
Winooski Representative Taylor Small is Vermont's first transgender legislator. She says every time she flies out of the Burlington Airport, she's pulled aside for a physical pat-down, most recently in November as she left for D.C.
Everyone knew. I knew exactly what was happening. The TSA agents knew what was happening in that moment. And yet they felt the necessity to go through that protocol nonetheless.
Small tweeted about her experience receiving dozens of public and private responses from people who can relate to the experience.
It really is an uncomfortable process, and I felt very lucky that at the time there were not a lot of folks traveling, that it wasn't this public affair.
TSA's Executive Director for Traveler Engagement, Jose Bonilla, says this isn't a new trend.
Step right up, please.
The way that we've operated the system is specifically based on blue button if the individual is perceived by the officer to be male, pink button if the individual is perceived by our officer to be female.
Does that mean it's more likely that transgender or gender non-conforming individuals get flagged?
That's correct. That's what we've seen.
Data shared with us by TSA shows of the 26,000 screening complaints they receive annually, just more than 6% are from members of the LGBTQ+ community. In an effort to lower that number, the agency is spending $18.6 million on non-binary screening systems. After roughly 1 year of testing, Bonilla is confident the sharper image technology will reduce the number of physical pat-downs happening at TSA checkpoints.
Hey, this technology should really be gender neutral. You know, it really should be, and we're there.
Small says this is a good step, but it can't come without training and education for agents.
One TSA agent offered for us to do the scan again, while the other was very adamant that they were going to do a pat-down in that moment. So I think there is some discrepancies based on which TSA agent you are seeing.
Dana Kaplan, Executive Director of Outright Vermont, says when policies and procedures target trans or non-binary individuals, it creates health and safety risks.
It is that level of barrier and exclusion that leads to trans people not being able to live their lives with self-determination and joy.
Kaplan and Small both hope the improvements to technology at airports nationwide will benefit trans and non-binary individuals, but the dialogue surrounding these types of policies needs to stay open.
Our collective understanding of gender has shifted over time, and it is the responsibility of those in power to get caught up to the reality of what life is like for people these days.
By updating policies, what we're doing is making these more accessible for all Vermonters. Everyone should be able to access things such as being able to fly out of their local airport.
The company making the new technology will start rolling it out to airports in January. In the meantime, those who think that a TSA agent may have incorrectly assumed their gender can ask to be rescreened before a physical pat-down has been deemed necessary. Christina?